Gabor Scheiring is an assistant professor of comparative politics at Georgetown University in Qatar. He's also a former member of the National Assembly of Hungary. He's joining us live from Doha. Very good to have you with us on Al Jazeera. This package that has been released was pretty much being blocked by Viktor Orbán when he was in power in Hungary. Now Orbán has gone. Do you see that Hungary itself is going to be changing its stance towards future loans towards Ukraine?
Yes, good evening, everyone. This is clearly already an early sign of the political change that is coming with the incoming new government in Hungary. Viktor Orbán is still technically the prime minister, but he kind of lost room to maneuver. And instead of waiting for Peter Magyar to kind of take care of the mess that he's leaving behind with regard to EU-Ukraine relations, he agreed to this multi-dimensional package unlocking financing to Ukraine. In return, Ukraine agreed to kind of recover flows through the Druzhba pipeline. So this is indeed already a sign of the political changes in Hungary, and I expect the new incoming Peter Magyar government to continue this pro-EU and cautiously also pro-Ukraine line.
Just shortly after the announcement was made, there was a statement that came out, excuse me, from President Zelensky of Ukraine and the leader of, and Ursula von der Leyen, the leader of the EU, calling on third countries to assist in bridging the remaining gaps in Ukraine's finances. How tricky is that going to be now that this $105 billion loan has been handed to Ukraine? How difficult is it going to be to persuade other countries to try to plug those gaps?
Yeah, I mean, this is a critical question. This financing is huge. It's partially financing immediate macroeconomic needs, including payment of salaries. So this is really something that Ukraine clearly needed. Another bigger part of it goes to financing defense needs, which partially also means buying of European weapons and supplies. But there's clearly a remaining part that Ukraine needs to keep its finances afloat, and there is a discussion that Western countries, G7 countries will contribute to that. So I think this will change. And with the kind of the vetoer of in-chief in Europe, Viktor Orbán, out of the picture, I also expect the EU being able to act more quickly with regard to eventual further financial mechanisms. Now, we have to also keep in mind that Peter Magyar has inherited Viktor Orbán's kind of withdrawal from this 90 billion fund, and he will not join it. So that's also part of the reality.
How do you think Hungary will stand when it comes to, for example, the sanctions on Russia? We know that the European Union's formally issued new sanctions against Russia. If I'm just reading that they appear to be geared predominantly towards maritime and energy restrictions, obviously trying to limit Russia's ability to export oil. Do you think that those are more likely to be able to progress more quickly and more smoothly now that the government of Hungary has changed?
Yes, exactly. It was more or less part of the same package, financing to Ukraine, Druzhba pipeline flows to Hungary and Slovakia, and also the 20th sanctions package on Russian fossil exports, maritime fossil exports was part of the same package. Now, a bunch of new vessels have been added, new destinations have been added, financial banks have been added to the list. So this is again a clear signal of changing winds in Europe with Viktor Orbán out of the picture. But in the long run, I think Europe needs to also up its game in terms of not switching from one dependency on Russia to another, mostly American LNG. And I think the real long-term solution would be here an intensified green transition, where Spain and some of the Nordic countries, Sweden, Finland, prove really that this is doable. Right now, what we're seeing is kind of a diversification of fossil dependency away from Russia towards Western suppliers. But this is not a clear long-term solution.
We appreciate you giving us the benefit of your expertise in this. Gabor Scheiring, Assistant Professor of Comparative Politics at Georgetown University, Qatar. Thank you very much.